in our clubhouse getting high. Super fuckers! Everybody wishes we would die. Super fuckers! Here we come like a bomb. Everybody fucking run and hide.
Hey, it's the Rebel. Oh, what?
I was just joining in. I just said, you said A, I said oi.
Hey, it's the Rebel Taxi Pizza Party podcast. I'm Pan Pizza. Who are you people?
I'm Nolan.
Hey, it's Jim.
And we have a guest.
I'm Cool Cat.
Oh,
Cool Cat's here.
that's
Dude,
a classic.
Cool
dude.
Cat.
Dude, can you help me meet Vivica A. Fox, please?
No,
Cool Ken likes to rock and roll.
I'm too busy strangling all the bullies.
Oh man, Cool Cat, I heard you're making a new movie and it's just recycled footage from 10 years
It's literally,
ago.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Some people are surprised. Like, maybe they got the wrong impression, but that's all it ever was. Like, that's all he ever said he was going to make. He's like, we're going to add in some new celebrity cameos. Like, okay.
Wait, what
Extended
cameos?
edition.
There was somebody in the trailer. I don't even remember who it was, but just some obviously not A-lister.
So a very memorable celebrity.
Yes. This is already like the third or fourth time he's George Lucas'd his film.
Wait,
Right.
there's
Like-
so wait.
Wait, so
There's
he
another
might end
cut?
up George Lucasing his film more times than George Lucas did.
He's been recycling the same footage for years. So essentially, okay, so if you look on his IMDb,
But to be fair,
Before-
if you had that footage, wouldn't you recycle it over and over again?
At
Yes.
least remaster it. Add some colors. I don't know, like up the contrast or something. Do
if you go on his IMDb, you can see before the film Cool Cat Saves the Kids, there's like 3 other ones. It's like Cool Cat Loves You, Cool Cat Finds a Gun, and Cool Cat in the Hollywood Parade or whatever.
Wait,
Or, yeah, like Cool
wait.
Cat Stops Bullying.
Wait. Cool Cat finds a gun?
Yeah, and so what he
Wait.
did is like all of the ones on IMDb that you see before the first quote unquote first film are actually just short little like kind of PSA sketches that he made that are like, 10 minutes or whatever. And what he did is he essentially took all of those and then stitched them together into a film. And that's how he made Cool Cat
Whoa.
Saves the Kids, is he just recycled old footage. So when Vivica A. Fox and Eric Estrada agreed to be in a thing for Cool Cat, they didn't know they were going to be in a movie. They thought they were just going to be in some short little like 2-minute PSA, and that's what it was. But then Daddy Derek changed the game and decided to edit it into a full feature-length film. So that's why in the scene right before, it's like they have to come up with some convoluted excuse as to why Cool Cat is over there and Daddy Derek and Mama Cat aren't over there. He's like, oh, well, let me drop you off. And then after I drop you off, I'll come back here and get Mama Cat instead of just waiting for her together. Like, okay.
I love the escalation. Like the first one just says "Cool Cat loves you," and the second one, "Cool Cat finds a gun."
Cool Cat joins ISIS.
What's he gonna do with that gun? What are you gonna do, Cool Cat? You gonna shoot me?
Cool.
So,
Cool Cat's
Yeah, and
responsible
then-
for Columbine.
Come on, Cool Cat, shoot me. You can't do it, pussy.
he's going to stop all the bullies.
Yeah. Now no one will
Wait,
make
that
fun of
falls in
him.
line with the
What?
Columbine narrative.
Yeah. What was the little girl's name in the movie? Do you remember?
Maria.
Yeah, Maria, you're pretty cool. Don't come to school tomorrow.
Whoa.
This'll teach
Got
him for
dark.
insulting Ember's Ghost Squad.
This got dank. And so after his that film, he already recut that same film again after my review, because I guess he took some of the criticism to heart and changed a couple things, but not a lot. Like he didn't make a good film out of it. He just changed a couple things. Like he added in a shot of Cool Cat looking both ways before he runs across the street, because I pointed out how hypocritical it was of him to say to do that and then just not do it, like literally 30 seconds later.
So he like Han shot first his own scene.
Yeah, but in a way it's like, okay, I kind of understand, because he's like, well, it's to help the kids or whatever he's telling himself. And so, if I come up with some sort of criticism where he genuinely believes, oh yeah, that would be better for the kids, then, he changes it, I guess. And so that now this is this is like I don't know how to count how many times he's just recycled his own film, but that now this is just another one of those times when really everybody wants a sequel. Everybody just wants like a new movie, but even with his first film, he never really made a movie. He just recycled old shorts together. So I don't think he knows how to make a full feature.
Well, haven't you ever made a video and you're just like, man, you uploaded the video and you're like, man, this isn't good enough. I wish I could re-edit this entire review or something. Well, not, or just add a few
Kind
things.
of. Not like immediately after I make it, but maybe like years down the line.
Yeah.
Because I sometimes had that feeling. Because like in the last video, I did a video on like why action cartoons are no longer on TV, and I wish I went into more detail about streaming and stuff. But I think I was like having trouble with my microphone, and I was like, I'm done with this. I don't want to do this. But now I have a new microphone and an actual preamp, so I don't have to worry about things anymore.
Yeah, upgrading equipment. It's always good.
Everything's a mess. But the next video is gonna be top 10 superhero cartoons.
The next video is gonna be crap. You just said.
No, it could be.
You just said that. Somebody can clip it.
It could
We
very
have
well
the
be.
proof.
But the next video is going to be top 10 superhero cartoons that were never made, like unreleased, lost pilots and stuff of superhero cartoons.
Did Youngblood get in there?
Yes, well, not really Youngblood, but the story around it, because like, essentially, like Fox Kids signed a contract with Marvel, stating they could only make Marvel shows and only Marvel comic book shows and they can't accept like Malibu or Image or anything.
Yeah.
So it's like a real shady contract dispute that happened for like 3 years.
Yeah.
What do you get? Oh, someone just woke up. Look in the chat. It's Izzy.
Izzy's here.
Wake me up inside. Can't wake up. Wake me up inside. Save me.
Call my name and save me from myself.
This is like the end of the podcast.
Oh no. We usually have a terrible.
Am I naked in this?
What?
In this little look at the
in the stream
the image, you can see the contours in my back.
Oh, okay,
Whoa.
the stream thing. No, I'm sure it's that Nolan draws you with jeans or something.
Draw me like a French girl.
Levi's. You know?
I just did. Look at you. You're beautiful.
Thank you.
We're streaming and
You're beautiful.
we got to figure out when we're streaming these things.
We stream them at 5 p.m. Eastern time unless stated otherwise, like right now.
Twitch.tv/Pizza Party Podcast. We'll link below and we'll have info in the description for that. But you guys want to get into the news?
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's get right into the news.
Hey.
Wow, that's a good announcer voice.
This is CNN.
Hey, Adam, you like Samurai Jack?
I'm impartial.
Okay, too bad, because Samurai...
There's nothing wrong with it.
Adam just never seen it. You know, he lives in Canada.
I've just never like actively sought it out.
Yeah,
it was like on TV when I was younger, and I was like, "This is cool," and I watched it when I could, but I didn't really watch it much.
Yeah, you live in Canada. You don't have Cartoon Network. You had Teletoon.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like they had less shows, less of the good shows, less frequently. Just some other random crap, but whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's like current Cartoon Network.
Oh.
Now kids these days can just torrent everything.
Yeah, this is the future. Everything's better. But Samurai Jack is getting an HD remaster. This includes all the old episodes, and they're all going to be released on a Blu-ray. All 62 episodes. And not only that, is the first 3 episodes of Samurai Jack are going to be put in theaters for a Fathom Events one night sort of thing. And I would love to see that, but like HD remasters of the old Samurai Jack episodes, that would be great, because like the DVDs look like utter garbage. They look, I mean, I use footage of the DVDs in my review and they just look terrible.
DVDs are like the most useless format now, because at least VHS you have a bit of hipster quality.
Aesthetic, yeah.
Well, at least with DVDs,
physical tape.
the only good thing about a DVD, if you have a Blu-ray player, it'll up the quality.
Mm-hmm.
So if there is something on DVD that just gets a crappy Blu-ray transfer, you actually just already have it. You don't need to rebuy it.
That's not. Oh, a crap. Well, I mean,
that happens more than you think. Like most Blu-ray transfers
like
aren't
artificial upscale isn't the same as like, I mean, even if let's say you have a crappy transfer on a Blu-ray, as long as it's like 720p, it'll kick the shit out of a DVD, you know. So
What
I
I,
mean,
find
it
really
depends on-
amazing is that, like, I've been here the entire time. What I find amazing is that older movies actually look way better on Blu-ray than newer movies, because anything that was shot in digital is just whatever the digital size was, versus film can be upscaled so much easier.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it really depends on the film. It really depends on the film.
No, 'cause there's
some
a-
films are shot in like super high definition anyway. You know?
I mean, if
I mean,
you
like
look-
film is always going to look amazing, and film quality has been way better than 1080p for many years.
Yeah.
You know, like since film has existed, it's been way better than like 4K. You know, it depends on the transfer.
Well,
Yeah.
it depends on what they transfer, because I have a copy of Halloween, and it's supposed to look like a suburban neighborhood in the fall, like on Halloween, and they made the grass so green it looks like it's June. And it's like, that's like I've seen a lot of transfers like that where I'm like this is beautiful, but you kind of brought out a color that you shouldn't have, kind of thing.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Criterion transfer of Fantastic Planet.
Mm.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Fantastic Planet?
Oh,
Yes,
I've seen images
yes, I
of it. It's
have.
like, this is terrifying.
Great.
It's that director's crazy. He's done a bunch.
Oh,
he
yeah.
I've seen that in Time Masters, and he does like really surreal, weird kind of French animation. But Fantastic Planet is like so weird and like so memorable, that design and all that stuff.
One of the worst coloring changes I've ever seen was for The Good and the Bad and the Ugly. They like the Blu-ray has like this weird updated version of the colors. Like it looks like a modern film, or how they colorize everything, you know, with that greenish tint, that Michael Bay greenish tint on some night scenes, and like in the day the orange.
And they saturate the shit out of like everything.
Yeah, it's like this is terrible.
So you have to watch. Sometimes you do end up with like the best transfer was like some dumb DVD or something.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Which is bizarre, but like I don't know, it depends on the release and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Most of them are fine though.
One of the drawbacks with Blu-rays though is that sometimes the quality is so good that they like mistakes from filming start to appear, which you wouldn't have seen because of the lower quality of the previous releases. Like I remember listening to the Ben Winsey podcast from THAC, may they rest in peace. And they talked about how they saw Michael Bay's Pearl Harbor, even though nobody would want to see it anyway, and how they saw all like how terrible the special effects were and the wire work and stuff because of the Blu-rays of quality.
So what you're saying is you'd rather have a comfortable lie. I remember watching like when you see the movie Face Off on Blu-ray, you can always tell when it's a stuntman in a wig. It's so funny.
I have seen that transfer. Yeah.
God, oh yeah, I remember. Like, I don't know. I was watching like Triple X2 State of the Union with Ice Cube, and there was I don't know. Ice Cube.
That's my favorite movie ever made.
Ice Cube was like driving a boat, and like in the Blu-ray, you can tell like there's a stuntman like who's much skinnier than Ice Cube. But yeah, going back to Samurai Jack, like I know there's fans who already remastered Samurai Jack in HD with this thing called the Waifu 2X. Basically, it's some sort of upscaler that makes things a little.
That's cool.
That makes an image like bigger, but it also has like some sort of like a watercolor effect. It doesn't, so it's not perfect, but it still looks good, this transfer. So I'm kind of wondering if like the fan restoration will look better or worse than the official HD remaster.
It has happened before, where fan work has been infinitely better than the official release because people will be fucking lazy. But
maybe we might get like a next season of Samurai Jack done by fans, like Sonic Mania.
Please. Please. I mean, I know behind the scenes stuff about Samurai Jack, but I don't think I'm allowed to say anything.
Ooh, do tell. Do it.
No. I can't.
Say it after we go offline so we're the only ones who know, everybody else can fuck themselves.
Yeah, okay.
Getting feisty.
The Samurai Jack legend doesn't end with the movie. Be there as the story continues every Monday night with Samurai Jack, the series, brand new episodes. Follow the legend, starting this Monday night at 8, only on Cartoon Network.
But and the next bit of news is Sony Pictures is back at it again with another animated film. This time it's part animated and part live action. It's called Peter Rabbit based on some book or something, and it essentially looks like a remake of Hop.
Has nobody ever seen like any kind of like Peter Rabbit folklore?
No,
stuff?
it's
like there was.
I know what Peter Rabbit is. Yeah,
it's a book. Like I read them to my daughter and stuff. There's like all these different
there was
characters.
definitely
You could do a cinematic universe and spin-offs of the whole thing. There's like tons of characters. Like,
please don't give Sony ideas.
They have already had this idea. This is not. They know this already. But like Farmer McGregor, and you have like a cat characters and rabbit characters and like all the characters that would be in a farm setting in England.
Amy Pascal is listening right now and taking notes.
Amy Pascal doesn't listen to this. Come on.
Do they have all their own like spin-off books and such?
Yeah, actually, Amy Pascal's writing this down and going like, but if we could put Spider-Man in.
Oh.
There was definitely a Peter Rabbit thing that I watched as a kid a bunch, and I can't remember which variation it was of it.
Like some animated thing?
Yeah, I think it was like I'm looking on IMDb right now. I think the most likely culprit would be this like Tales of Beatrix Potter thing, but who knows?
Yep.
The Peter Rabbit anime is really hard to find. Where it's a shonen anime where Peter Rabbit has to like train every like 5 episodes and defeat the farmer.
Oh, here it is. It's the TV movie, The Tale of Beatrix Potter, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm confused. There's whenever you have something that's like Creative Commons license at this point, basically, like
Public domain.
Yeah, public domain. That's what I was looking for. Is like there's going to be a million different variations. There's a new Jungle Book movie coming out.
Oh,
no.
the Andy Serkis one.
Yeah. So like another Jungle Book.
Oh, because
really quickly.
No, they were being made at the same time, but
yeah,
the other one. So what they did is because
I wish they were in theaters at the same time. That would be funny.
I think that would have been, but no. So
That'd been hilarious.
Took the book, the Kipling book, and which is very different from the Disney version. And I'm like, I guess so, but maybe delay it a couple years. Like, don't put it out so directly because Disney's is its own thing. And like, I mean, I love Andy Serkis, but I don't know. Like, when does that even come out? Next year or something?
Look, that movie was so forgettable. People would not know of it, by then,
Yeah.
So I guess Sony Animation's doing Peter Rabbit. Can we take bets on like whether or not they'll show a shot of Times Square and throw a bunch of ads in it for Blu-ray and Sony products? Because they've been doing that. Like I've been going through a bunch of Sony films just to see how many times it happens. It happens a lot.
Yeah.
Wasn't the first Spider-Man was the first time they got caught doing it? Because I know they got sued. The Green Goblin fight in the Tobey Maguire first Spider-Man or Sam Raimi.
Oh, for what?
For CGing in their own ads in Times Square, like that, and they got sued. And that was the first time I remember someone got in trouble
for that.
I think some companies were like, "Hey, you just like put something over my ad for one of your stupid."
Well, I mean, in America, you can sue someone for anything, but I mean,
I don't remember the specifics of what it was, but I remember it was either a controversy or
you need to send me a link somewhere.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
I need to verify this claim.
Hold on.
This is the 90s. We're gonna sue you. We're gonna get you for willful destruction of property.
Yeah.
Mental anguish.
That's getting it to him.
Loss of work hours. We get through with you, you ain't gonna have a dime left to your name.
You'll be hearing from our attorney.
What kind of world is this?
Would you do me a favor and intercut a thing from Suburban Commando where it's like, this is the 90s, we're gonna sue?
Oh yeah.
I mean, like Sony Pictures, like I was watching Hotel Transylvania 2, and like it felt very out of place that there was also a Sony phone within this cartoon universe of all things.
Yeah.
Sony is desperate.
I found it, and a federal judge. Hold on, I'll put this in the
Please,
Discord.
I need to see what this is.
But it says a federal judge allows them. I haven't read the whole article. I'm just reading the headline. But a federal judge allows them to alter Times Square. Wow, this was.
Why wouldn't? Yeah, exactly. Why wouldn't that be the case? You're allowed to alter, like it's your movie.
Yeah.
I mean, there's instances of companies suing for having their products in the film already.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
I mean,
so
if you
it was
didn't get
considered.
clearance, then you would have to edit it out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, how is that an issue?
It was considered under free speech protection to do that. So
I don't see how anyone could make a legal argument against digitally editing out someone else's product.
It was kind of obvious if you see that Spider-Man movie at the time and had been to New York
on Blu-ray
that they had altered it because it didn't look like you'd see these ads and you'd be like, "What? I've never seen that in my life." So,
They do that all the time, though. I mean, at this point, especially, like they threw in a Times Square scene in the new Ghostbusters. They threw in a Times Square scene in The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Well, see, I think that's more just because everyone thinks that tourists love Times Square because that's where all the tourists go in New York.
It's because they can throw in ads for their own products.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that.
That's exactly why they do it. That's why Sony makes movies. They don't make movies for art. They don't make movies to make like a good product that people want to see. It's a way to get people to pay for their own ads.
Are you saying the makers of the Emoji Movie don't have artistic integrity?
Well, that's a bad example because that's just meh. It's the best movie ever made.
Yeah, there was no Times Square scene in an Emoji Movie, so you know.
Oh yeah, there wasn't. That's true. The kid should have gone on a trip to New York just to have the Times Square scene.
The Sony film Life, which was completely in space, threw in a Times Square scene with Sony ads.
Oh
wait, sorry. Finish your thing. Sorry.
They threw in a shot of people in Times Square with Sony ads over top of the other ads in Times Square.
Wait, do you know where
this was a movie that was like the entire thing was in space?
Wait, do you know where that footage is from though?
What footage?
That footage of Times Square is from Spider-Man 3.
They recycled like
Life?
stock footage.
Oh, that's funny.
For Life, that's why.
Are you sure that? I know they've done that for movies before. I don't know if
because apparently that's what spurred on the Venom. How it was a Venom prequel. Do you remember that theory that Life was a Venom prequel? And apparently one of the things that added legitimacy to this, or whatever, I don't want to say legitimacy, but is that someone was watching Spider-Man 3 and went, "Wait a minute, I know that's footage."
Funny.
Someone recognized that one scene from Spider-Man 3 of all places.
Yeah.
The entire movie is in space, and then they cut to Times Square because they're like, the astronauts sent a message home when they're on TV talking about how cool it is being astronauts. Obviously, this warrants people watching this feed in Times Square.
See, that's something that hasn't happened since like the 90s. Nobody, because that used to be a thing. They'd be like, Seinfeld is ending. We'll play the end Seinfeld on the big TV there, or we'll play the OJ verdict. But like, these are all things that happened over 20 years ago. Like, no one goes to Times Square in the noisiest part of a huge city to watch anything. That sounds like the worst way to watch anything.
They threw in a Times Square scene in the new Smurfs movie.
Yeah. I think both.
Wait, the animated one?
Like the first, the first computer animated one.
Yeah, like
I forgot that there was a second one.
The Smurfs movie just feels so sleazy. Just all the ads they just shove in. Like there's that one scene in the first Smurfs live action movie where they're just in a toy store and they're just demonstrating all these toys that you can buy.
Don't mess with me, because I will kill you and everybody you love.
I have to catch this guy and nothing's gonna stop me.
Parker, my office. So, you got detention. How are you gonna make things right?
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Hey, speaking of Spider-Man, like we never got to talk about Spider-Man Homecoming. Did anyone else see Spider-Man Homecoming?
I saw it.
I did. I did actually a few days ago.
Izzy, did you see it?
No, I only go see movies when I have friends.
Oh.
So never.
Wow.
All my friends.
Adam Rich.
Whoa.
Rude.
Sorry.
But what you guys think of Spider-Man Homecoming?
Best Spider-Man.
Right?
What? Sorry?
I thought it was the best one. I liked it a lot.
I would disagree with you there.
That's fine. I mean, I could totally see why. I mean,
hey, Spider-Man 2 for life.
I completely agree with Half in the Bag's review, where it feels like they made a list of all the things they already done in Spider-Man theatrical films and decided not to do it and made something completely different.
Well,
I enjoyed it for that. You know,
they made it more like low key, and like I even like the comic books. They reference big issues of Spider-Man, but they also reference there's a issue of Amazing where Spider-Man can't get out of Queens. Like that's the whole issue, and it's really funny. It's written by Peter David, who's a great writer, and they reference that in the Spider-Man movie. I go, okay, this is the Spider-Man I want, where it's like fun, relatable. He's gonna get in an argument about deli sandwiches. Like there's so much of that movie, like the whole Donald Glover thing, where he's like, no, they make great sandwiches, and he goes, man, I like bread. And you're like, what is going on? This is a Spider-Man movie? But that's very New York. I liked, because it felt like Queens to me. Like it felt more New York than all the others was like Hollywood, New York. But this was like New York, New York.
Jim lives in New York, so he knows what he's talking about.
Sorry, I shouldn't. But it was, I enjoyed it. And it's like that director, if you saw his previous film, Cop Car.
Yes.
Which
I also saw Clown.
What's
pretty funny.
Is Clown's like different from is it, or I haven't seen Clown.
What do you mean?
Is it
like
different
from what?
Stylistically from the other two? Like, is it about a kid's perspective or?
Clown is definitely not about a kid's perspective, but it's a very funny, very fun kind of like campy comedy horror that I think did a pretty good job at what it was trying to do. And it definitely went places that most films don't go. It was a fun watch. I would recommend it, even though it's not like a perfect movie.
Yeah,
I'm curious though. Is your favorite Spider-Man Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2, or is it another one?
So I'm not gonna say my favorite like individual film, but I will say my favorite universe. So like if I'm going to categorize them, then the Amazing Spider-Man would be my least favorite, and the Sam Raimi Spider-Man would be my favorite. And I mean, a lot of that would have to do with the filmmaking in the trilogy. Something that I felt was really lacking in the Spider-Man Homecoming film so far is effort in the cinematography department. It was really like all of the dialogue scenes in the film especially felt like it was just like Judd Apatow movie cinematography of like where the camera doesn't matter, and it's like this is just what people are saying, and that's the only thing that matters in the film is what the characters are saying, and that's it. And you compare that to like literally any of the Sam Raimi films, and you'll notice just the wide variety of shot placements and framing, and like there's a heart to it, there's a personality to it that isn't just, hey, this is another Marvel movie, a cookie cutter thing that you just stick into the universe and it fits because none of them are particularly visually special.
Well, they don't mess with the cinematography look at all in Marvel, which is
I know they want it to be like
the same
voiceless, no personality.
Because if you look at the old in comic books, you can have different artists, but you can't have different cinematographers and ways of shooting things, which I kind of think is to their detriment, because it's like they wouldn't all look the same. You could have very different looking movies all existing in the same.
It would be. I think it would. I don't think it would be like that big of a deal for a different feeling Marvel movie to exist. I mean, the closest that we have to that is Guardians of the Galaxy.
And that's like everyone's favorite one.
Exactly. It's like something that deviates and does something new. And now it's like because they kind of did something new, now it seems, at least in the marketing department, that Thor Ragnarok is trying to like follow in the same vein as Guardians of the Galaxy. And many people are trying to emulate that sort of feel and doing throwback 70s music to their action scenes. And, like they've clearly seen some success. And now it's just like, instead of learning the lesson of, hey, maybe some deviation or some creative freedom is a good thing, instead they're like, oh, we found the new thing that we're supposed to do and only do forever.
Well, I think with Thor Ragnarok, they have like Taika Waititi, who's a really different director from like James Gunn, and like trying to at least, I mean, I don't know if it'll work out that way. I haven't seen Thor Ragnarok yet, but
yeah, who knows?
It's like it doesn't matter. It doesn't know right now, but it feels like they're going in a really different direction by getting, at least
I don't know, like their poster implies it, but I don't know what the marketing department is gonna
But at least like with the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans, like they had Bill Pope, shoot those, and he did Scott Pilgrim and Baby Driver and Team America, and like they had a really great DP on those. Whereas like in these, it's like I barely notice who the DPs are.
Not only are the action scenes more impressively thought out from a cinematography perspective in the Sam Raimi universe, when comparing it to the Spider-Man Homecoming especially. Not only is that more impressive, but just looking at the dialogue scenes, you know, like there's parts where characters will have a certain emotion, and in order to emphasize that, like the next shot, when you cut back from one of the characters, it'll be a little bit closer onto like Aunt May's face or something, and it's like there's a purpose, there's like a breathing being to the film, and I feel like you know, the Sam Raimi universe Spider-Man, in terms of the filmmaking, it feels like art, but then the Homecoming cinematography just feels like a factory product, and that's really what I'm missing from it. And I want to be, you know, I like film as an art form. That's what I love about it. You know, so I just feel a little.
The only closest thing I can think of to what you're talking about in Homecoming is when like talking to Peter in the drive to Homecoming and figures out who Peter is and turns around and the light goes green on the street light, and he's like, "Oh, I get you." That's like the closest. That's like the closest thing to like a clever, like visual visual shot.
That was I would consider that to be like probably the most effective dialogue scene in the film.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, like it isn't saying all that much, because I wouldn't, in terms of like emotion, I wouldn't say that there was much in that film in that department. There was comedy. There was kind of funny comedy, but that had nothing to do with the filmmaking and everything to do with like the performers and like the characters and like the universe, right? Like the filmmaking was just what was lacking in the film.
Yeah.
And that's what I care about the most.
I mean, I think I
don't think it's a bad movie. Like I gave my quickie on it. I gave it a 7. Maybe it should be a 6 instead. Like now that I've had time to sit on it, but yeah, I don't. It was an enjoyable watch. I'm glad that they did new things with the universe. It's really not as much of a film from a filmmaking perspective that I'd like it to be.
No, it's more of
that's understandable.
Studio driven, and it was. The other thing is it's a lot cheaper. Like the original Sam Raimi Spider-Mans were made in like such a different Hollywood, where Sam Raimi had to make them big and epic as possible because there were these huge movies. So they had to be these big, epic kind of event things, but he also had to find a way to make it small and relatable, because Spider-Man's kind of like, you're basically just dealing with like protecting New York City. You're not saving the universe in a Spider-Man movie. And like Sam Raimi was good at making it feel epic and important, but also like, oh, Peter, you know, has to get to class and stuff.
Pizza time.
Yeah, exactly. And this one was so much more focused on the low keyness that I get. Like it's kind of hard to build up to what Sam Raimi did, and especially
and now the Marvel films are focused on the Loki-ness. Bazinga!
Wow, Adam, we have a dad here. You can't just upstage him like that.
He stole that guy's joke.
Yeah,
I had to interrupt while it was there. I'm sorry.
But with these solo Spider-Man movies, like you can almost say, like if he's the only superhero in the world, then like, you know, it's much grander versus like.
That's a good point.
Like in this version, it's literally like, can you just protect your neighborhood? Can you be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man?
Or like how he helps that lady across the street and she gives him churros. Was it he like gets some churros? I was like, I like that. That's Spider-Man's day.
Well, because like in the original, you know, like literally, it's the responsibility is like the catchphrase is such a big important part, because it's like
responsibility.
If he doesn't do what he's doing, then he's being a bad person. Versus now, like if he doesn't save the day, someone else will.
Yeah. I like how this movie emphasized friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, like that aspect. Like, oh, now I get it. Like the other movies, I don't feel got that aspect.
I will say, as much as I liked when what I mentioned before about him not being able to like do web shooting in suburbia.
Mhm.
There is no way he goes to school with a girl who lives in that neighborhood. Like, it just geographically that I was fine with it, but like when you live in the area, sometimes you're like, where does she live? Like, that's an hour away. Like, there's no way she commutes an hour to school. Making that car thing with Michael Keaton, like, that would have taken forever. They would have been like, so Trump, right? I mean, that'll kill 20 minutes, right?
You know who I don't like? Iron Man.
Oh,
he was a huge prick in this movie.
Hey.
no,
So I felt the same way about him in this movie as I did about him in Captain America Civil War, where like his character was somehow lost and just replaced with a plot device. Like he doesn't feel natural anymore. He just like, I get, maybe it's because I don't read the comics and maybe this is all just like in tune with his character. That's fine. But it feels like it's less about him expressing something natural about his character and more just about him being like, I need to create conflict for the plot. I will take a huge issue with this. Spider-Man, you think you're messing with the big boys. You're just a little baby. How do you feel about that? You know, like, it's just, he's literally just shows up as a plot device, and it's just, I don't know. He annoys me in this universe.
Well, I think there's twofold reason. One is the first reason is he got PTSD in Iron Man 3, which is a completely irrelevant movie now. But I guess that kind of hinted that he's starting to take things a lot more seriously. And then in Civil War 2, and then Civil War, and it's a really flimsy, stupid reason. But this lady walks up to him and she said, "Hey, my son died because of you." And then Tony just all of a sudden realized my actions have consequences.
It was really ham-fisted.
Oh God, no! It's probably one of the worst moments of the Marvel MCU.
Yo, my son died.
Yeah,
they could have built on his whole PTSD thing to get to that plot.
Well, when you've got like 8 billion main characters in the movie, like how much time can you really spend developing one?
Are you guys excited for Infinity War, where they're going to have 60 characters on screen at once?
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm curious how they can even do that, because even in the Infinity Gauntlet comic, which this is primarily based on, I guess, they mainly had it from Thanos' perspective, and then they'd cut to the heroes, and they'd be all like, what do? We got to get organized, and then they'd cut back to Thanos. And like, so is it mainly going to be about Thanos and then do that, or are they going to try to push the whole like Tony Stark feels bad sometimes thing?
What do you think, Jim?
Probably the latter.
Yeah.
It probably like Tony will be like, I feel bad. Where's Captain America? He has an eye patch now.
But,
I shouldn't have posted that. I feel like they might have revealed Thanos too early. Like, I know it's all.
Oh yeah, no, they did. But like, I honestly don't give a shit about this guy. Like, if it was like a couple years ago, sure. But now at this point, they've teased him so much that it's like,
do something.
They didn't do enough with the teases. The tease at the end of Age of Ultron was like, I'll do it myself. Was like not cool. It was like the first time you're like, yeah, if it was like each one was like a story, like he's like getting a gem in each infinity gem in each post-credits thing, I'd be like, oh, this is building. But instead it was like, he's like, I'm still angry, Thanos, get off right on.
No, it should be like
that would have been totally fucking cool if they, like how Disney always has like some kind of unrelated short at the beginning of their movies. They had like an unrelated short at the end of theirs, like not just like a scene, but like an actual like small like 5-minute movie.
Well, there is actually like a comic before Infinity Gauntlet of Thanos getting all the Infinity Stones or gems or whatever. And like, that's actually a pretty cool story. Like they could have made like cut that up into shorts, or just made like a, Netflix thing or something, or made a movie. Who cares?
They should get each movie and have it like Aqua Teen, where at the beginning it shows like Doctor doctor guy, but it's Thanos and he's saying, "Gentlemen, behold," and it's just whatever he creates or does, it interferes with the movie afterwards.
Actually, that's the best idea.
The human whose name is written in this notebook shall die. Any human who's used a death note can neither go to heaven nor hell for eternity. Once you actually start looking around, Makes you wonder if you'd be doing society a favor by getting rid of all these people. Death Note. This world is rotting, and those who are making it rot deserve to die.
I can't tell if I love it or hate it. Like I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my.
I didn't realize the main guy's from Naked Brothers, but I didn't. I don't know what Naked Brothers. The main guy's from Naked Brothers. I looked him up. He's from
Naked Brothers band.
Yeah, from the new Death Note movie stars Nat Wolff from Naked Brothers band.
Holy shit!
I don't know.
Naked Brothers. I ain't watching no. You ain't watching no Naked Brothers. Sorry.
Oh, Adam. I don't know if you got that in Canada, but Naked Brothers Band was a show like on Nickelodeon about these like guys who these like stupid teenagers who were in a band.
I'm looking at the IMDb page right now. It looks awful.
It's very the name is very concerning. Naked Brothers Band for a kid show. It's a little.
I think I remember seeing like maybe a commercial for that on TV at one point.
Yeah. I go to Walmart all the time and they have like 50 million copies of the PS2 game on clearance that nobody wants to buy. And I've always just contemplated, I wonder if anybody would be upset if I stole these. Because owning it ironically would be great, but I ain't paying for that shit.
No.
Like they catch me at the door and they'd be like, you have to pay for them. No, I don't. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like, who wants to arrest someone stealing something called Naked Brothers Band? That's just
disturbing. Yeah, 3 years, 3 years of your life in prison because of the Naked Brothers Band.
Well, I think there's lots of people who have gone to prison for liking the Naked Brothers Band.
Oh no!
Sorry, that's actually not to be confused by the popular gang in prison.
What gang in prison?
Oh, the Naked Brothers Band.
There's a gang. Oh no, never mind.
She's making a joke, man.
Shut up! Shut up! Hey, okay, so crap. So is that all for Spider-Man Homecoming?
Hopefully.
You want to talk about how crappy Death Note was?
Let's talk about Death Nuts. I'm recording now, but yeah, Death Note on Netflix has premiered, and everybody says it's shit because to me, I've seen some footage and it looks like Final Destination.
I've seen footage. I stay noted.
I've seen the whole movie. Yeah, I actually fucking enjoyed it. I don't know what anyone's saying.
I've heard a lot of polarizing things, like, but the consensus is it's bad. But either you'll love how bad. Yeah, but either you'll love how bad it is, or because Death Note.
Okay. I've never been one of the types that's like it has to be strictly the same thing as the source material, because if we play by that rule, almost every classic movie that everyone fucking loves, Jaws, Wizard of Oz, everything else, we should start hating them. But because everyone saw the movie equivalent first,
I completely agree.
Thank you. So like, if this movie legitimately didn't have Light as the main character and L as the thing, and they just changed their names like they did Misa to Mia and whatever, I could enjoy this as like a weird American alternate universe sequel thing with just Ryuk. But this is, obviously the characters aren't the characters from the book. Light is the biggest pussy ever. And he makes his facial expressions in this goddamn movie is the live action
smiling
equivalent.
all the time when he's like pretending to be scared. Somebody uploaded the screaming scene to YouTube. It's so funny.
Yeah,
it is the live action equivalent of the Tom and Jerry Willy Wonka movie.
Ow.
Jesus.
So
put that on your resume, dude.
The Netflix live action 2017 Death Note didn't just fail because it deviated from the source material. It failed independently of that. It was a incredibly poorly acted, cheesy, nonsensical, stupid film.
Although you didn't like the detective guy who really just went all for it.
Which detective guy?
The guy with the mask. L.
Yeah.
That was just so far. I was like, props to you. You went for this. I don't know why.
Like emotional, like crying and gun wielding and
no, just like when he would hop on chairs and like be like totally doing this weird. I don't know. I was like, you're doing this whole cartoony thing.
That's how it was in the original manga. So.
Okay, but like
that's probably the only way you could tell that character's L.
It was like everyone else was like, we're making a live action film, and he just went, no, we're making is based on an animated movie. I'm gonna go for this shit. And it's like it's like John Leguizamo in Spawn, where you're like, I mean, this is something. You definitely have acting talent, but I don't know where you went with this shit. Like,
well,
what's going on here?
Light doesn't work in this at all, and like you have like this traditional American setting, traditional
Light
high school.
Turner.
And and then just all right, we found you with 6 kids' homework. Light, like that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so it would be one thing if they deviated from the source material and changed everything, and it was just like, oh, well, it's different, but it's equally as purposeful or equally works in the universe. But every change that they made was significantly for the worse in a way where it's abundantly clear that Adam Wingard and everybody else who made the film completely just missed the fucking point. That like what did they watch out of the original anime? What was their experience? What did they get out of it? If apparently them considering their film as doing it justice or creating an adaptation that is of equal or greater value, if their interpretation of that is this film, what did they even see? What did they even watch? What did they get out of it? What was the anime for them?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Like if you can't even, I like how they threw in the American movie trope of him getting bullied. Like they threw in these bully characters just so he could be like, oh man, no one knows what it's like to be like me. Like
I'm just a kid.
Yeah, exactly. It's a stupid American movie trope. And it's so conflicting, even if you ignore the source material. It's a movie that's in constant conflict with itself. It plays as though it's a crappy teen like family channel movie for most of it, and then all of a sudden you have just a bunch of gore that it's like, okay, well, which market are you trying to even?
Yeah, that was one of the biggest problems with this movie is I kept watching and go, who the fuck is this for? Like,
yeah,
I don't know
me.
Who it's like, is it for us to like rip up so this movie cost $50 million, by the way, and like this is one of the biggest things problems with this movie is if this had come out in theaters, it would have bombed and the director would ruin his reputation, and it would studios would be like, well, we can't make anime adaptations anymore. Look at Ghost in the Shell and Death Note especially. But since Netflix bought it, Adam Wingard's next movie is Godzilla vs. King Kong.
Yes.
And it's like...
Actually, his next one is an I Saw the Devil remake, but he's doing that too.
Well...
I know! Quit giving him shit!
He used to... Like, did you see... He's made better stuff before, but as soon as he started with that Blair Witch movie, it's like...
Okay. I'm gonna disagree with you there and say that he's always been making awful shit movies and he's never made a single good thing in his entire life.
Did you see The Guest?
You know what? I expressed my opinions on this because I tried watching The Guest and I turned it off after 20 minutes because it was so stupid.
But I like The Guest. It's kind of like fun genre stuff. Okay.
After everybody on Twitter started being like, Adam, you didn't like these two movies that I've already tried watching before. And You're Next, I got all the way through and I watched it in like 2012 or whatever. But just to entertain the idea that perhaps I was misinterpreting the films or that they were some sort of serious hidden gem level of commentary on genre deconstruction like people claim they are, I watched them both again last night. They are still bullshit. They are still awful.
Okay.
I hate them. I hate him as a director. He's awful.
I don't know. I haven't really liked
off the rails.
This and Blair Witch were so horrible.
I watched that last night too. It was very upsetting.
No, Blair Witch is like, I don't know.
The remake or the
remake? He did the one that came out last year that was like the found footage sequel.
Why did anyone need that? Like, why did that need to exist?
I think people thought because the original sequel of Blair Witch wasn't found footage, it was like they tried to I saw that movie like once, like so long ago, but they tried to just do like a regular kind of horror movie, and then I think they went, oh, maybe that was stupid, why don't, when we reboot it, make a found footage Blair Witch sequel. But he screwed it up, and like, because
Yeah.
there's actually a lot of cool Blair Witch history they made for the website and stuff. Like, there's a whole world in there you could have done something cool with, but he does not do that at all.
He's clueless, and in the Blair Witch movie, he misinterpreted the source material in the same way that he misinterpreted Death Note. Like, you completely miss the point. Like, how can you even call this something that's in the same universe or something that is in the same vein of a film? Like, why not just make your own intellectual property if you want to do something that has nothing to do with what made the original so special?
I'm still stuck on the fact that there's a sequel or a reboot, because like with the original one being found footage, doesn't it get technically better with age? Like, couldn't it be a better movie if people accidentally stumbled upon it?
What do you mean?
Like you know, you I don't. I mean, I guess people don't really do this.
Like if from years from now and it was completely forgotten, and somebody from the future wearing their fucking future spandex and was like had like an Apple Watch on their brain or something. They were like, "Whoa, what is this? What is this found footage movie?" And they watch
Like,
it. Whoa, it is real.
Like, if they set the remake in 1999?
No remake. No remake. There doesn't need to be a remake. Like, it just
I mean, it was like a reboot.
It was more of a sequel, because it's like the girl's brother tries
soft
to
reboots are hot right now.
I also really love how they decided, oh hey, you know what we should do? We should make a found footage soft reboot when found footage shit is on its way out.
No,
that's a great idea, guys. Good job.
Well, the reboot should have been a creepypasta. Like just throw it up on YouTube.
The found footage as a genre, like, it's losing its popularity, but I don't think that it's completely useless as a medium. I think that there are still many really cool and interesting things that you can do with the genre. And I know it's gotten a bad rap because most filmmakers see it as an excuse to put less effort into their film.
Yeah.
But there are some found footage movies out there that are really innovative and interesting and put a lot more care and attention to detail in their films than a lot of non-found footage films do. So,
I'm not saying that like it's a use. What I mean is like they like people like Hollywood has only used it for horror and stuff when it could be used for other things. Like there's Hardcore Henry, but that's irrelevant to my point.
Footage really, or maybe
it could be sort of classified as a found footage subgenre. But what I mean is Hollywood has exhausted found footage to the point where no one gives a shit anymore.
They never got into the interest, like what Blair Witch started, but it took, I mean, Paranormal Activity, I guess, really started when you got like a ton of them. But what Blair Witch was influenced by was Cannibal Holocaust. And if you've seen Cannibal Holocaust, what's really cool about that movie is there's a whole backstory to, they found the footage and they actually have a debate over the morals of releasing this footage. And Cannibal Holocaust is a really extreme movie, and I mean,
it's got a really good song.
Yes, it does.
The song is so good.
No, the theme song's great, but I think Cannibal Holocaust is really good from what it does with the found footage genre, but it does it way before any of the other kind of ripoffs do, and they never actually went into the morals and the ideas of finding that footage or anything. It's just like, you're just watching, someone found this and you're watching it. I don't know, who gives a shit. And whereas Blair Witch Project did that also, but that was like a new thing. No one had done it before. And they at least had like a reason they were film students. All the other ones were like, it's security footage. I don't know. Who cares?
I genuinely love the first Blair Witch Project. And I know a lot of people pass it off and categorize it as just some sort of found footage schlock. And a lot of people don't like it because it's like, it doesn't hit the same cues and beats of a standard horror film. There's, you don't see a lot of gore. You don't see like monsters or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it works very well as a film. Like, it's a really great drama. You believe all of the performances, like great acting, and you really feel for this small group of people that you're with, and you experience the same confusion and I don't know if I should say claustrophobia. There's a better term for it. Like just being the feeling of being lost. Like You
Because
know, like
they're stuck in that loop, like they just can't get out of it. And there's a sense in that which the reboot tried to do, but the new one did so well where you're like, oh
you
my god, they're
experience
like
things
stuck.
through them.
Yeah.
That movie also, I don't think any of them obviously didn't think it was going to be what it was, and I think that phenomenon killed it so hard because I remember when it came out on VHS right for Halloween. Like it had a really small theatrical window, and when it came out, everyone would watch it at a Halloween party. And that's like a horrible movie to watch at a Halloween party. You really need to like have the lights out, be just like have. I
watched it by myself.
Yeah, that's the best way to see it. But everyone who saw it like at a party and hated it, I'm like, well, that was a terrible way to watch that movie. No wonder you didn't like it. Like
if I have like a bunch of people over, like if more than like 5 people over, and there's alcohol, there's only like certain types of movies that I'll show. I won't watch anything that I'll get upset if people aren't paying attention to.
Yeah.
It'll be like gore, fun, like dumb movies that people can laugh at, or like so bad that it's good, or like, kind of things that it's like you can be drunk and everybody can be talking over it and it'll still be great.
I always pick like Mac and Me for those things.
Yeah,
I still haven't seen that. I would like to.
Oh god.
Oh, you should.
I've seen a few scenes from it.
Viewing party.
Oh god, yes. Please.
Man, I'm still hung up on Death Note. I know.
Death Note. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. We went on a fan footage.
So disappointed. I was so excited about Death Note, and then everyone just like
we're talking about
guys. Keep talking about it. I gotta drop.
It's because we're talking about Adam Wingard, and I was just saying how he's never directed a good movie ever, and I mean, I would love to hear people try to justify the supposed intellectual genius of the 2 films of him that people really like after his inevitable 10 movies in a row where nobody likes them and they're complete shit. His next movie, gonna be complete shit. His movie after that, gonna be complete shit.
Is
to
he
people's standards more than just me?
Is he the next Spielberg?
I think they wanted him to be like the genre guy because Your Next was very much like Your Next was very genre, and I guess The Guest was trying to be like a kind of like My Bodyguard mixed with the Terminator type of thing. And like that's what they wanted, like him to be like a strict genre filmmaker. But the problem is I think he when he's had these intellectual properties, he's not using any genre in that. He's trying to tackle them. Like I haven't seen any Death Note, so I can't really of the anime. But when I was watching the movie, it just felt like too many things going on at once. Like you shouldn't have the detective, and the girlfriend.
He really focused on the gore.
Yeah, well, like that was the other thing. Was like it started as like a Final Destination ripoff, and then it stops doing that.
It's just so stupid. There's no reason for it.
I mean, I sort of get like he can.
It's clearly what he cares about is the gore.
Yeah, which is even the point of the original anime. That's not
exactly. There was never. The anime didn't go like, ooh, how are they gonna die? Like little death sequence and then like head explode like extravaganza.
Yeah, all that happened was a heart attack.
Yeah, and I mean like, okay, yeah, if you want to do something different, that's fine. But at least acknowledge that your choices are not being made for the better. You know, you decided that you like this type of thing better, but it's like, okay, well, what did you get out of the original?
Well, I think
all I have to ask is like, what did you experience?
You're asking this as if like this is aimed at the original source, like people that love the anime. If you were going to try and grab random person that will go to a movie theater, which keep in mind that's a small niche part of the Death Note's original audience. How do you make deaths cool for a? Not that Death Note should be an action movie,
but it's not the point. Is the problem is like how can you if you're going to make a movie where all you give a crap about is like, oh man, this death's so cool, then why are you adapting Death Note when clearly those are conflicting ideas? Like, why are you even adapting the source material? If you want to make something completely different, make your different movie.
I think
why even take the intellectual property?
I think the thing is that Hollywood just has a gross misunderstanding of audience appeal, because I think in their Hollywood heads they're like, well, if we take this thing and we make it and we put this thing in it, it'll be popular. I think they just have a gross misunderstanding of how things work, which we all obviously know. But they think that, oh, if we take this anime property, we'll appeal to a niche market. And then if we make it all gory and stuff, we'll appeal to a horror market too. It's great. It's a great idea.
I think that's giving him too much credit.
I don't really think they really think out making anime adaptations, because it really hasn't worked financially ever. Like, I can't even think of one that's worked at all.
Edge of Tomorrow is probably the best example, but that's still
manga. That's manga, and that also, like, I mean, sorta, I guess, but that is,
it's a very loose adaptation.
That also had Tom Cruise in it, and a major anyway. But the
Mummy, Jim.
Well, anyway, but the Mummy that made money overseas. I haven't seen the Mummy. I'm not going to justify.
I saw that was shit.
But
it was funny.
Yeah,
he becomes a superhero at the end.
But who is seeing like Ghost in the Shell and Death Note and is excited about them, and I don't really think they're thinking out these movies in a way that's like they're not like superhero movies. There's not a built up demand for I can't wait to see Death Note on the big screen. Like, nobody really gives a shit. So
I think
people were excited for it.
I was. Still am.
Yeah, there was a ton of people excited for the Death Note remake.
The thing is, Death Note went through a lot of production stuff, because this originally was a theatrical film, and then it kept getting passed down and passed down and passed down until eventually Netflix bought it. So I don't know how much this is all right, this is what we already have, and then someone's trying to make the best out of it, what it is. And going back to what you're saying about if you were going to do a Death Note movie that involves a lot of the action-y parts, why not adapt the part with the TV station, which has quite a bit of action.
Here's my theory. Adam Wingard made 0 decisions based on how he thought American audiences would perceive them, and made every decision based on the movie he wanted to make. He made the exact movie he wanted to make because he makes dumb movies for stupid, dumb babies. He's just like, I like gore. And that's it. He doesn't he's not the type of person who could even watch Death Note and get anything out of it beyond, ooh, look it, people died. Goo goo gaga.
Okay.
I know it's a very exaggerated caricature. I hate this man so much.
How about this?
I hate him even more after having watched all of his films last night in order to try and give him a second chance, because people were insisting that I was misinterpreting him.
How about this idea? I'm still up for the idea. Could Death Note work as an anthology series, like a TV show where each episode a different person gets the Death Note? Could that work?
Oh, that'd be fun. People will be pissed off at regardless because it's not the source material.
A Death Note film could work.
Mm-hmm.
A Death Note film could very well work. I wholeheartedly believe that. You just need to give it to somebody who can actually faithfully adapt the original and be like, okay, this is what's important about it. Capture the tone. You know what I really loved about the original Death Note is even in one of the first scenes, you get that the shot that goes into the demon world or whatever it was. What do they call them? Shinigami, layer or whatever. Yeah. So the shot that goes into their world, and it's through this big tunnel, and the camera's shaking, and you get this this choir, this chorus of these singers that are going sort of thing. That tone was never experienced at all in the film. All we got was Adam Wingard's typical, hey, let's do some 80s synth and people will think it's an homage, except it's not going to work this time. He just really loves this 80s synth vibe. He's going to put his own stupid playlist in the movie and not give a crap about what the tone of the film should be.
Yeah, one thing that really bothers me is people say, oh, anime can't be adapted into live action. Stop doing it. And I'm like, no, it can be. It's just that Hollywood keeps picking the wrong people.
Well, it's similar what happened to comic book movies before, Sam Raimi and so forth, is most of them were bad because you pick people who had no respect for the what they were adapting, and they treat it like comic books are dumb. I'll direct it like it's a dumb thing. And you got Batman and Robin and shit like that. But I think anime, other than the Speed Racer movie, no one has ever really taking it that seriously what they're adapting. So you're getting these subpar directors, who look down upon what they're adapting things, which just doesn't work. It's a stupid way to come about as source material.
You know what would have been amazing? Since Death Note's original material is such like dialogue heavy storytelling anyways, because most of Death Note, the anime, is them standing around talking about their future plans. I think it'd be great if Kevin Smith, if we're gonna do like a shitty remake anyways, let's just go all the way. Kevin Smith doing all the dialogue.
Kevin Smith needs to go home.
That's where his recording booth is. That's where he makes his podcast. So we'd be encouraging him if he does go home.
Stay out of his podcast. Stay out of the cinema.
He'll never go home. He's gonna be around forever.
Yeah.
We're gonna.
What has Kevin Smith done again? I'm sorry, I keep.
Clerks, Mallrats, Dogma, Jane Silent Bob.
Yeah.
Tusk, Yoga Hosers.
Oh. Yeah.
He just why he's become a horror movie director. I don't really.
Well, I'm starting to question.
I didn't even like Red State. I know some people.
Red State was fucking awful.
No,
that was the movie I realized that Kevin Smith wasn't a good storyteller.
I don't know why that was hyped up. People were like, "Wow, what a great film!" I don't understand.
I think it was more a reaction to him doing that thing at Sundance, which was a bullshit thing that he did, where he screened it and he said, "Afterwards, we'll decide who's going to distribute it." And he gets on the mic and goes, "I don't want anyone to distribute it. I hate all you guys. You guys all suck. Red State.
He
I'm
did
gonna distribute it myself," just the way I'm saying it too.
Whoa.
And you guys are all stupid booger faces. And he walked out, and they're like, "What?" He did do that.
I don't know about that. He was like, I saw something else where he was like, "I'm going to distribute this movie myself, like go cross country, have a tour to see my movie."
He did, but he basically hyped up. He kind of hijacked all these people because they're like, "Who's going to distribute this movie?" And then after the screening, he's like, "Oh, no one. I'm going to do it." And they're like, "What the fuck? Why were we? There's other shit we had to do today, man. What the fuck?" He pissed off half the industry by holding them captive because they wanted to buy this movie, and then he ended it by saying "fuck you guys," and it obviously didn't go over that well.
Adam Wingard has been on Twitter saying that people that don't like his films are just trolls.
Yeah,
the new Death Note movie specifically. And then when people are like, "Really? Why are you saying that?" He made another tweet saying, "Haha, look at all these trolls that are getting offended by me calling them out." Okay.
His method of defense is the Chris Chan method?
He is not handling the reaction to Death Note.
Of course, and it just shows how little self-awareness he has.
No,
he can't even be the person that's like, "Oh yeah, so studio influence made me do this, blah blah blah." And I know you can't say that publicly, but it's abundantly clear that he thought he was making a great adaptation. Come on. And people call his other films genre deconstructions. That's bull.
Oh, see that I don't agree with
it's
that.
Bull.
I know people have said that they're not
to try and understand. It's there's a couple things that are different in your next than a typical horror movie, there's a little bit of wow, they did this slightly different. But that doesn't mean that it's some sort of commentary on the genre. Yeah. It's not Funny Games, it's not Cabin in the Woods, it's not Scream, it's not Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Just because you do a couple things different in your slasher dumb horror movie, all of a sudden people are like, "Wow, this looks like it's poorly acted and cheesy enough that it's being a parody and it's being a commentary and it's doing it ironically." No, it's just cheesy and dumb and poorly acted. Come on. Yeah. I'm so frustrated with it.
First off, I really love Tucker and Dale versus Evil, but also
it's awesome. I love that movie.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
People, if you're listening to this, just just watch the movie Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and don't look up any trailers or anything. But
I no joke went into it blind, not knowing what I was going to get, and that made it so much better.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I had no idea.
Related, I just hate when movies say, this is just how in the movies they do blank blank. I hate when they point that out in movies and stuff.
What?
There's a scene in a movie like Scream. They do this all the time, but there's other movies that try to do it too, where they say, "Hey, this is."
Well, I think.
Oh, go on.
Yeah, I don't know. The other thing with Death Note is it's clearly influenced by shitty '90s movies that were never very good. Like I noticed
you mentioned the bully earlier, and the bully is like literally every early 90s bully character in any kids film.
Yeah.
It's an Adam Wingard movie. He threw in random dumb stupid bullies in The Guest too. That's just the movie he wants to make.
Please tell me like the bully.
And now people are realizing that the movie he wants to make is a shitty movie. Like,
please tell me like the bully has like one of those 90s sweater t-shirts and he has like a blonde.
No, but he's a football player. He's a football player.
No. Okay, he has a Letterman jacket. Like, does he say like, "Hey L, does the L stand for loser?" And the bully has like a best friend who's like, "Good one."
no, they're literally just like right outside the school at any given moment in time, and you have to imagine that there's probably like a queue of people that are waiting to get bullied because that's all the only place they stand. Lights like inside his classroom. Later, he looks out the window. The bullies are like literally in the exact same spot they were before. He's like, man, I'm 17 years old. Do you know that if you beat me up, that will be child abuse? That's literally what he said.
Yeah, I remember.
Somebody wrote that. Adam Wingard directed that and thought, this is good.
But I don't get
works. How can you do that?
What I never got about that movie is like they don't develop. Like, wouldn't you want to develop that character before he gets the Death Note? So there's like I have some attachment to him as an audience.
It's an Adam Wingard film. He doesn't want to direct. He doesn't want to develop characters. He has zero interest.
That's the problem. That's one of the biggest problems with Death Note is like there's no. I am not interested in Light Turner, who sounds like the most American name, like generic American name you can think of.
Now we're gonna go and show those douchebags they can't mess with us, or my name isn't Canada, Washington, Sawyer, Finn, Bush, Cheney, Pamela, Anderson, Lee.
True dat, yo. True dat, y'all indeed, inevitable black gang member.
People are surprised at this point about Adam Wingard. Like, right before Blair Witch, people were saying he's the most innovative and influential and creative horror director today. I can't wait to see what he comes up with next. And now all of a sudden people are acting surprised, you know? Like, oh, how come they didn't develop the character, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, this is in line with every movie he's ever made. He didn't really develop any of the characters in The Guest as much as people loved that movie. He just had one dude that gave a constant smirk and was like, I'm the cool guy. Look at how cool I am. Look, I can drink really spicy liquor. Isn't that so cool? And then everybody who's like a super cool guy fetishist was like, oh yeah, I love watching this character. I don't know. I hate him so much.
It's very clear.
It's borderline irrational at this point.
You can't say a goddamn word about Death Note without you going on a rant about his entire film.
I'm infuriated by him. Not just like on my own, but the fact that people are constantly telling me that I'm misinterpreting those two films, that are constantly telling me that I should like them. It's one thing if you're going to say, hey, this is what I thought about the movie. It's another thing if you're going to say, hey, this is what you should think about the movie.
Have you ever...
And when I went on Twitter and I was talking about how much I hated those movies, I was talking about what I thought of the movie, not like, hey, you should all hate these movies.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah. Have you ever just like said something in a video and like you wish you could edit it because there's so many comments or misinterpretation from the video?
Well, I find myself doing that thing often where I'll try to anticipate counter arguments and diffuse them before they even happen. So I try to think of what someone who would misinterpret me might say about something, or how someone might be able to misinterpret something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, you might be thinking this, but blah, 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 blah. So that's usually how I try to do it.
Yeah, that's what I worry
otherwise, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I just go in the comments section and say something. But
one of my favorite misinterpretations, it was from a recent video, but it was someone who didn't even watch the video. Like, it was just someone who said, here we go, another Teen Titans Go bitch fest, because there's a ton of Teen Titans Go rants on YouTube. And then, like, I commented, replying to him saying, watch the video before you comment. And then, apparently he did, because he deleted his own comment, and it's like, what the fuck? It's like, hey, you come back here and apologize to me and bow to me, you asshole. Death Note. Anything else about Death Note?
It's awful. It's awful, and I cannot wait for Adam Wingard to make crappy film after crappy film until nobody loves him, and I can say, I was hating him before it was cool.
I'm going to be honest. I was really fucking stoked to talk about Death Note and actually talk about Death Note. But like I said, you keep just attacking the same guy over and over again. You're almost repeating yourself. And I was just super stoked to like actually pick out points that happened in the movie.
Talk about Death Note.
No, I'm not even having fun with
Talk about Death Note, Izzy. Do it. Do it.
I'm not preventing you from talking.
I heard
kind of were.
I heard Robin Williams had a death nut.
What?
A death nut?
What?
Didn't he die jacking it?
No, that you're confusing that with the old dude from Kill Bill.
Okay, David Carradine.
He did. That is how he died.
I thought that's how Robin Williams died. Never mind.
No, he hung himself because he was getting Parkinson's.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a lot less fun than jerking off.
Yeah. This joke went off the rails.
Oh.
Got him. I don't like how they ruined the character design of Ryuk.
I agree with that.
Oh, why do they keep casting William Dafoe and putting makeup on his face or a stupid Power Ranger suit on him?
Well, the problem is that like Ryuk is very skinny and very like he's an abstraction of human body. And like this one, it's very clearly like they first started out with someone in a meat suit and then like, CGI elements onto it. And it's really awkward to see like giant fist versus like, I guess he has big hands in the original, but like then he has actually human sized like arms versus
they
like
gave
really
him
skinny.
a really weird face.
That's true.
But he does look like William Dafoe already in the anime. So like this could have worked.
I know. And then in all the marketing, they just showed the silhouette. As far as I knew.
So,
yeah.
And it's just like, okay, well, this wasn't about... Well, yeah, it's like, okay, well, now I guess this wasn't about being mysterious and foreboding. This is about trying to hide the fact that he looks like shit.
Yeah. Oh. However, I really enjoyed Ryuk being an entire dick in this movie versus like being passive aggressive. Because like he's very much more like upfront about things. Because like in the original, it's Light finds the book, experiments with it, and then runs into Ryuk. Versus this one, Ryuk's really like being a puppeteer.
Well, I feel like in the original anime there was like a sense of Ryuk kind of ironically being more humanized as the series goes on, and Light being more, less humanized and being more of a monster as the series goes on, and you have this kind of interesting juxtaposition of Ryuk being like, oh wow, this human guy really is crazy. But in this new adaptation, it's just like Light didn't even kill somebody who wasn't a bad guy. Like there was no sort of moral ambiguity, and they went out of their way to handpick him to be like this perfect goody two shoes moral character, but in the wrong ways, like. Yeah. With Light, it was like that was his whole outward persona in the original anime was like, oh, everybody thinks he's this perfect straight A student who would never do anything wrong. They just ditched that, and instead of giving him moral ambiguity of starting to kill people who weren't even like quote unquote bad guys, they were like, yeah, let's just have him only kill people who were criminals and only kill people that were trying to kill him or something. It was just like, Ryuk could have been taken out of this new movie and literally nothing would have changed. Like he didn't really add anything to the film. Like
except for that
you could have.
They thought Ryuk killed all the FBI agents because
God, that was so dumb.
A big part of the big part of conflict is less about L and Light and more about Light and Mia or Misa. Because like it's very much Misa has a bunch of ideas of what they should be doing, and Light's pretty much a pussy and won't do anything. So Mia starts like it becomes a chess game between them two as she's trying to get the book and become the person who can kill versus Light. And then L feels more like a subplot.
What I didn't get about, first off, if you got a Death Note book, I would at least read the rules. I didn't understand that. Why didn't you just read them all? But also, like, he made it sound like only he could write in it. So, like, any jerk can just pick it up and be like, write something and then kill him, right?
Yeah, that's how it was in the.
I mean, that felt a little random to me. I wasn't like a huge.
They added that stupid burn the page rule though, just for the sake of like plot convenience.
Cheap drama.
Yeah.
Start with the ending first and write your way backwards logic.
Because in the original, it was anyone that touches the book is able to see the death gods. the Shinigamis. And this one, it's whoever owns it exclusively. The not holding the book for 7 days, I feel like, is a movie exclusive rule. I think in the original, it was you had to give up the book, like verbally, like give up ownership, and then you forget anything that happened during your time being the Death Note user. The page, for those who hadn't seen it, basically, if you're a Death Note owner and you write someone's name down before they die, if you burn the page, it cancels it out, but you can only do that once. I don't know that it wasn't clear if it was once per book or once per user.
I know it's whatever it had to be to have their stupid conclusion.
Okay, you can't tell me that was not enjoyable just for the fact that like their facial expressions when they realized they wrote each other's names in the book.
Oh, so it's like Gift of the Magi?
Amy, this is for you. A set of combs for your beautiful hair.
Oh, that's so sweet. But I sold my hair to a wig maker so I could buy a set of combs for Hermes.
Oh, the irony! I sold my hair so I could buy this third set of combs for Zoidbug.
Thank you. These will come in handy for my new hair. Finally, I look as pretty as I feel.
I wrote in the book that like Mia Stanton hands him the Death Note in the attempt to like you can control someone for 2 days, which is not a rule in the original book. You can control people's actions pretty much infinitely until they die. Versus the book, it's like it's 2 days exclusive for plot convenience. But yeah, it's a part where it's like you wrote my name in the book. You wrote my name in the book. Like there's this great like facial expression. Like again, his facial expressions are the Tom and Jerry movie. They're amazing.
I like the scene at the end of the credits where she wrote that he was in the Naked Brothers band, and I was like, that's fucking deep.
The entire film, Light, the actor playing Light, just felt like he should have been in a comedy film instead.
Why was is he have enough of a following? Like, there's so many things about this movie that I was like, this is the problem with having Netflix, is that like none of these people should have been allowed to do this. And like because of Netflix and like a studio who clearly would have been like, wait, so you want this kid who's not really that famous to lead this movie that's going to cost a lot of money?
I don't think it's a Netflix exclusive problem though.
That no one wants. But it's like, no, it's like a streaming, I guess it's a streaming problem where like we'll never know the numbers on this movie. I'm sure it got watched a lot. More people probably saw this on Netflix than would have ever seen it had it gone to theaters because it was just there. And it's like,
it's like I already own this service and I want to see how bad it is.
Yeah, it's like, did they? I don't think Netflix made this because they were like, well, people will hate it and that'll work out for us. I just think they were like, this is like the problem people had with Okja, is that like no studio would have ever made this, so this is why it's Netflix exclusive. And that's like a problem with that service. Is like,
well, I like Okja though.
I like Okja also, but it's just like they do have a thing where it's like they make some stuff that I'm like, I'm so glad they made this, and then they make other stuff where I'm like, maybe you should have stopped at a certain.
They can't be all hits, you know.
Yeah, but this was like a pretty big misfire. You know?
Yeah.
It's actually one of the bigger ones because with Netflix, no one ever talks about their misses, and they release original content all the fucking time.
Oh yeah, every week. I mean, that $20 billion in debt didn't come from nowhere.
Right, and so like we only ever really get press talk or remember the big hits, but like yeah, like I said, they're probably like their success rate is probably 20%, but their brand not like people's knowledge of it's kind of like Pixar, where everyone just thinks every movie's good.
Well, it's like I do like Okja. But I don't think anyone signed up for Netflix because of Okja. I think more people signed up for Netflix because of like House of Cards or Orange is the New Black or even like Voltron or something. But like what they're doing with movies is such a big fucking mistake. I mean, it's just like they've been really fucking up on the movie front. Like they need to get their shit together because this is just like not. It's not working.
It's not sustainable.
Should they even be bothering with movies in general? Because like Netflix's biggest benefit is the binge watching. The whole idea of being able to watch a whole series.
I mean, that's why I know when they did Okja, they made sure they had a lot of that director's movies. But we'll see because their big push is that Will Smith movie that Max Landis wrote, Bright, I think it's called. That's like their big push. And if that works out,
oh yeah,
then
I don't
our
think
future
will work out.
I'm
From
excited.
The director of Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
I hope it works out. I love Max Landis' stuff.
I mean, that's more in his, I guess, wheelhouse, is doing like a cop thing, because he's the guy who wrote Training Day and did like End of Watch and stuff. But I don't think he's a great, he's an amazing director or anything. Clearly,
You have to understand, in the Hollywood studio system, a writer doesn't really have much control over the final version of a product. Max Landis himself will say, like, there's so many movies where the final product is not at all what he wrote, and they just, they butchered it, or they just gutted it and just put in whatever they want, and yet he's still listed as like the writer for the film. So who really knows what you're going to get out of a Hollywood studio Max Landis written film?
But even then, if it's like a TV show, there's a writer's room and only one writer gets credited for the episode, and it's such a collaborative effort.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah, but
with Hollywood movies, you have so many writers who come in and might punch up a scene or might do a rewrite but not get credited. Like, I mean, we were talking about the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. James Cameron could have been credited for that, but he chose not to be. Same with like a ton of people. Like, there could have been 4 screenwriters in that, and sometimes they don't want to be listed. They still get paid, but they don't want to be listed and stuff. So
I think that there's a big difference between a collaborative effort and a group and constant, consistent team of writers working for a TV show than a person writing a script by themselves independently, handing it to producers or whatever Hollywood studio until it gets tossed around X amount of hands until somebody decides to pick it up and then gut it and do whatever they want with it, and those people never really communicate. I think that there's a big difference between those two things.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm just saying that, like, in general, writing credits are all pretty fucked up, and and when it comes to just like this medium.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for writers. That's why I never want to work in a studio setting. I'd much rather be independent.
It's definitely a different game.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a game that I wouldn't really have much interest in playing.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But then, like, also Netflix's animation's very all over the place too.
Yeah, like I kind of feel guilty for my videos because I'm always typing up like, yeah, Netflix has so many great shows, and I think about it really. I start to think about it, and I'm like, maybe not all their shows are great.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I'm surprised at how many people are defending Voltron. I hate it.
Oh,
you don't like Voltron?
It's it's so fucking boring. Like, it's honestly like all the episodes I've seen so far is just you need to learn to work together as a team. And then they start like doing team exercises that don't work. But then the one that turns out the one where they goof off the most, it's like, oh, you guys are finally doing it, and it's just like.
Are you sure you're not just describing the Power Ranger movie?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I know.
That's literally what the second episode of Voltron is. It's the Power Rangers.
It's just a hologram, like a video game.
Not a video game.
Aye, aye, aye.
Power Rangers, rated PG-13, in theaters March 24th.
I didn't even watch that movie.
Don't.
Yeah.
I liked it. Apparently, I just like all the shit that everyone else hates.
Well, I like the Power Rangers movie, but the Power Rangers were the worst part of their own movie.
No, the Zords and the suits were.
I mean, yeah, like the actual Power Rangers part. Yeah.
The Power Rangers movie acted like it was like the 2000s X-Men movie, and they're embarrassed of the Power Rangers while making a Power Ranger movie.
Yeah.
Like, they should have just made, like, we have like Marvel movies where characters can wear brightly colored suits. Like, you could have just made like being a kid who watched Power Rangers, you could have given me that nostalgic experience, but instead you made like this other thing. And I think they could have made that movie. Like, we're in a time where audiences will accept that. So like, I really didn't get like what they were trying to do.
Yeah. The movie felt really cheap. Like, apparently the budget was $100 million, and it's like, really? Because they basically saved everything for like the last 10 minutes to show any Power Rangers or Zords. Oh,
and then all the Power Ranger stuff looked like the fucking Transformers or something.
Yeah. Well, I'm sick of every like action movie looking like a flavor of the Michael Bay stuff, and then on top of that, I would have even been okay if the Power Ranger suits looked like Iron Man, because at least then it would look like it was well designed. This like it looked more like
or at
really
least you could see it because they move it by so quickly. I'm like, I think I saw that. I don't know what just happened.
But it looked like Green Lantern to me, like as far as like the design aesthetics.
Yeah.
Thing is, the worst part is that you had a Power Rangers movie back in the 90s where they, used upgraded versions of the suit where it was like, more metal than spandex. And I thought that worked. I think you could do a higher quality version of that.
Yeah.
And you still have the look of Power Rangers while looking higher quality versus this CGI body bullshit.
I wonder if they're actually going to go through with the sequel.
Oh no, that's not happening. That Lionsgate is in so much trouble. That's why they're like, hey, maybe another Hunger Games with the Twilights. We're in trouble. We're in trouble.
But I don't know if they did make a sequel to that Power Rangers movie. I feel like it'll just go full damage control where they try to fix everything like they did with that second TMNT Michael Bay movie.
Yeah. But then but then the nostalgia wears off and they're like, oh, I don't want to watch this, and then it just gets canned again. So
I don't know. If they did a second Power Rangers movie, they would be bringing in Tommy Oliver, the Green Ranger, and like that is where most people's nostalgia boner for Power Ranger goes.
Yeah.
So if they brought
Green Boys.
I saw that movie midnight screen, 7 p.m. screening because they don't do midnight screenings anymore. But the audience was way into it, and I'm just like, really, guys, this is pretty crappy.
I don't know. I enjoyed the Power Ranger movie. I was I keep in mind I had very low expectations for it, so like it was really hard for it not to like
meet them.
Yeah. So like I knew what I was going into, and I was surprised how well it pulled off some things.
Yeah.
I had moderately low expectations for Ghost in the Shell, and I was still let down. That's like the worst feeling in the world. Like when you're expecting something to be kind of like dumb, and you're just like, I'll just enjoy it for like something really superficial, because I'm interested in seeing it anyway, just to form an objective opinion on it. And then you see, and you're like, wow, I'm still disappointed anyway. That's incredible.
I mean that the problem with Ghost in the Shell is that they had thought about adapting it and having James Cameron do it or Spielberg do it, was like, since this has been in development for so long, and clearly they had spent development money on it, and they're like, oh man, we should like make this a movie, or it'll look bad that we spent money on this thing that never got made. And they just handed it to the Snow White and the Huntsman director, who's a stylist, like can do like, he's a commercial director, like, and you can tell that but he's not. You don't want to see his take on Ghost in the Shell, and that was the biggest. They should have gotten a cool director. Like they could have gotten, what are the Wachowskis doing? They're not doing nothing. Like they could, if they did Ghost in the Shell, I'd be like, it sounds kind of a little regressive, but I'd be at least interested,
Yeah. Before Adam goes on his bed, I just want to say I definitely would like to see James Cameron do that Battle Angel Alita film, because I have the art book for it and it's gorgeous.
No, he's making Avatar
Rodriguez.
3 and 4 and 5.
Is it Robert Rodriguez doing that?
Battle Angel Alita?
Yeah, I think he is, right?
Oh, well.
His next movie?
I'm not sure, but we'll see. And Adam, what'd you want to say?
We were talking. Well, when you mentioned the just Netflix animation as a category, and I went on Wikipedia and I just found out that they are planning a Carmen Sandiego Netflix animation for 2019. I just found that really interesting.
Hey.
Well, because they already in the works are released a Magic School Bus too.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
They released it already?
Or I've been hearing
like
more
some
about
sort of
it.
like promotional thing. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think the Ghostbuster is going to be Miss Frizzle.
Christian Wiig?
Kate McKinnon.
Kate McKinnon.
The blonde one. Yeah. The anti-trans lesbian gold star bitch. Yeah, her.
Whoa! Wait, what?
That was a mouthful.
I don't. Wait, she's anti-trans. I'm really confused.
I don't even know what this is referencing.
She's like a very notorious TERF, trans exclusive radical feminist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Let's see. No, yeah, I just found that interesting that they were renewing that. We're definitely in the age of like nostalgia as a marketing.
It's never gonna
gimmick.
end.
We have been for like at least 5 years.
Yeah.
The reboot
That's
thing.
pretty much everything.
Well, because there's so many millennials. Like, there's more millennials, at least in America, than any other demo at this point. And I guess their feeling is if we can, like, because the baby boomer nostalgia was huge. I mean, look at the Wonder Years and all that stuff. But the millennial nostalgia is taken a next level memorableness to it.
It's all about member berries.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think the comic book movie boom had a little bit to do with nostalgia because comic books had that huge rise in the 90s. And I think that had probably a little more to do with it than people realize.
Like even like Star Wars is soft reboot and like Blade Runner and all that. Like it's not just like 90s kid stuff. It's like 80s really too.
Well, yes, stuff that was huge in pop culture though. I think Blade Runner is I mean Blade Runner is a really popular movie, right? I mean, I don't know much about it.
Well, Blade Runner's kind of become one. It was a huge flop at the time, but it sells so many Blu-rays and VHS and all. Like it became
40 versions of the same movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
5 cut.
That's
Blu-ray.
The other thing is like I haven't seen it that many times because anytime I'd have to sit down to see it, they'd be like, "Well, you could watch this cut or that cut," and I'd be like, God, shut the fuck up! I'm gonna watch something else. You're pissing me off.
I want to see the terrible Harrison Ford narration cut.
That one's not that horrible. I think it kind of works with because it's trying to do a noir thing, and that was a very noir thing. It's just like Ridley Scott hates it, but like Ridley Scott makes a lot of bad decisions. So
no, but didn't Harrison Ford himself say I intentionally sabotage that so they wouldn't use it because I knew it wouldn't work, but they used it anyway?
I mean, he didn't. It wasn't that bad, but you can tell he doesn't like give a shit. But a lot of noirs were made on a cheaper budget, so it like while I was watching, it was like I think you thought you were fucking this up, but you ended up having it work. So it's like I think. He doesn't get like if you see like Detour, which is like probably the best film noir and it's really easy to find. You can find it anywhere on YouTube. It's like a B thing, and you have these actors who like had an hour to record all their lines, and they like just saw the script, and of course it's not that great. So Harrison Ford, it worked for that. He actually did it the most appropriate way, which is kind of funny. But I don't think I haven't seen every cut of Blade Runner. I've just seen the one with and without, and they're both fine. I don't see. Everybody needs to get off their ass.
I don't know which cut I've seen.
No one knows.
People need to chill out about that movie. It's like not that amazing, but it's still good. I mean,
I'm very excited for the 2047 or whatever.
2049, I think.
Yeah, 2049. I'm very excited for that. Not because I'm like a Blade Runner nerd, but because I love Denis Villeneuve and Roger Deakins.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, it's a good combo, and so that's from a filmmaking perspective. I'm really excited for that.
No, I would have because what's it? What was that movie? Shit.
Question: If the new remake did 2 releases simultaneously of one with narration and one without, do you think that would be successful?
I don't know.
No, that'd be funny.
They do.
If they did that.
You go to the theater and like they say, "Hey, do you want it with the narration or not?" It's like 3D or 2D movies now, you know.
Or is it like that movie?
Oh,
what?
The different theatrical endings.
I was just like Clue. You had to go in the paper and it would tell you which theater had ending A or something like that. Yeah. So like they should do something because I think the way we have so many different theatrical releases now, that would totally work in today's environment.
I got an idea for you guys. Just listen. What if the live action Pokemon movie had a red and blue version of the movie?
Oh,
you had to see the movie twice.
God. Fuck that.
But then it's like, which do you see first?
Yeah, that's concerning.
It would be the same movie, except some of the background Pokemon would be different Pokemon.
Yeah, then they make a yellow version.
I wouldn't put it past Hollywood though to do that.
That'd be amazing.
So,
I mean,
are they making a live action Pokemon right now? Is that a thing that's happening right now?
Alex Hirsch is like writing for it. He cannot confirm or deny, but he's implied a lot that he is.
They say that, but look, tell me.
I somehow just
trailer.
They're making a live action Sonic movie for 2018 or 2019. And
great.
I know. I'm excited. It's gonna be terrible. I can't wait. All I hope is that they take it like make it memey like how their Facebook page does or
they reference Chris Chan and such.
Yeah, no, Chris Chan gets a cameo.
He got one.
What?
In the Sonic Boom cartoon, they made an episode that's a character that's directly like it's Chris Chan.
It is Chris. I know. That's what I love. That's my favorite. That's my favorite episode.
But even better is Chris Chan's made reference to it on Twitter. And he's like, "It's not me. It looks nothing like me. I don't see the reference."
That's so funny.
And that's when you know he's feeling insecure in life.
Oh God! But is that all for DeathNote?
We're talking about
DeathNote
or whatever we were talking about.
If we want to segue into another topic, I mean, we've kind of done that naturally several times. We kept having to go back to DeathNote because we kept talking about other crap.
Because I was like, let's go back. I guess we can go into questions now because we've been here for almost an hour, like I think over an hour and a half.
Talking about DeathNote.
Yeah.
DeathNote.
All right, questions. If anybody has a question, be sure to leave your question in the YouTube comments of this video and start out with the word question so it's easier to find. And our first question is by Spearmint Pony. Question, what shows did you watch when you were sick?
Mostly Tom and Jerry, I think. That was the only thing.
Wait, doesn't everyone just watch like syndicated TV? I used to watch old Cartoon Network, but you'd end up watching Maury or whatever, Ricky Lake.
Court.
Yeah, like now
you are not the father.
Now you just watch Netflix or something. It's not as kids nowadays. They don't know what it's like watching Judge Judy at 2 p.m.
Oh God, yeah, no, kids have it easy today. You guys don't know what it's like having to go to school in the snow, walking uphill for like 10,000 feet, hiking up to Mount Everest just to get to math class.
15 miles.
Don't talk shit about Judge Judy.
Oh wait, did you hear about her negotiations lately?
What?
For her contract? What? No. Apparently, when she negotiates her contract, she just goes to dinner with the head of CBS who syndicates her show. She hands him a list of demands and says, I expect them to be met. And then he goes, okay. And then they have dinner. And that is it. And I was like, holy
That's
fuck.
awesome.
Don't fuck with Judge Judy.
I love her.
Shit.
He's like, here's
her
what I want.
Her judgment is the final say.
Here's what I want, and another round of beers.
No, I like to imagine like Judge Judy, we can't have your court seat be a rocket chair, and she's like, I'm sorry, do you want another season? Okay, Judy, we'll do it.
Like, motherfucker, Judge Joe Brown ain't getting you my ratings. Come on.
So the question was shows that you watch when you're sick.
Yeah,
like ill?
Like you stayed home.
I don't have a designated sick show. I don't think I ever did at any point in my life.
Like what did you wind up watching like on TV?
When
like
I'm
anything?
sick?
Yeah, like sick from like elementary school, like when you were a kid.
Man,
sick of this bullshit.
I think I just watched. I had like a portable DVD player, and I just watched like DVDs.
You had DVDs when you were a kid? How young are you?
Guess how old I am.
25.
It depends. It depends what you define as kid, I guess. But I'm 26.
Oh, I'm 25.
Then yeah, because I didn't have DVDs when I was a kid. I was 90.
I had
depends what you define as kid. I guess I had DVDs when I was like somewhere around 12 or something. Yeah. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I still remember. I still remember VHS, like Sonic Unleashed had like unlockable collectibles that were VHS tapes, and I knew what those were, but I went on like message boards and people were like, "What the fuck are these?"
What? Oh my god!
And I was like, "God damn, am I old?"
2008. That's concerning.
Well, actually, have you heard people I've heard people say, "Look at old phones" and be like, "Why would you have the hashtag symbol?"
But when I was a kid, we had GBV or GVBA or whatever the game video.
GBA video, god damn it.
GBA video.
I remember watching like if there was a movie on and I was like, oh, I've never seen King Kong and I'm homesick, I'm doing it. And I remember doing that a lot. But then you have to watch it on TNT or something.
Dude, yeah, the 50s were hard, man.
No, the 50s were crazy because then I'd have to just watch soap operas. And you ever watch a soap opera just one day and go like, wow, this continuity is crazy. What's even going on right now? Like, and they refer to stuff and you're like, I don't even fucking know.
Hey, Adam, speaking of portable DVD players, did you have a Video Now?
I don't know what that is.
Good.
Oh my god, Video Now was something where it had its own special discs. It was, do you know the PSP's UMDs?
Oh yeah.
It's sort of like that, but it was mostly for kid shows and stuff. And it was a screen that I don't think even went above 200 pixels per inch.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I didn't have one of those.
Oh,
I used to have one, and it was the black and white one. And it was the battery went out like every 30 minutes. I think it was it was a horrible thing to have.
Like I remember I did a video on GBA video and I hinted that I would do one on Video Now, and people keep asking when's the Video Now video coming, and I I don't know. I just lost interest.
I've learned that if you ever make a video, it's like I'm making part 2, it will never come.
Yeah. Remember the Tony Hawk retrospective?
Hey, look.
Remember that Powerpuff Girls part 2?
It's a dead horse by now. No one cares about Powerpuff Girls, the reboot.
You do it the following week. People expect part 2 immediately after part 1.
It's like, I don't want to make like 40,000 Powerpuff or Teen Titans go arounds, It's like,
Hey, YMS, when's the next Sindeki New York coming out? Idiot.
2049.
Yeah.
Holy shit. That's when Blade Runner's supposed to come out.
Did you say
yes.
How did you pronounce that?
Sindeki. Snickerdoodle, New York, yeah.
Synecdoche. I can't even say it.
Synecdoche. Synecdoche.
Synducky?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Although, going back to the sick shows, like, I remember I was watching some Ben 10 episode where Ben 10 was also sick. Something about mushrooms or something, like the first Ben 10. And I don't know, I just felt extra miserable, like, because I was sick and then the character on the show is sick, so it's just like,
I don't think he was. No, I think he had. I know exactly what episode you're talking about because I think that was the introduction to Wildvine.
Maybe, yeah. It was like an early episode, when I actually cared about Ben 10, when I was dumb and, I don't watch Ben 10.
It was like a season 2 episode.
Yeah, oh, who knows? But yeah,
that's when they were adding more monster or aliens in his watch.
Yeah, but next question. How about we take a question from the stream chat?
Hawk and Hawk asks, "What show do you hate that everyone else likes?" For me, that TV show is South Park. For me, I just said it earlier in the stream. It was Voltron. I hate that show. I think it's boring. But you guys?
I've got an appropriate answer because it is legitimately a show that everyone likes. Game of Thrones.
Oh,
I don't like that one either.
It's boring.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. Thing is
wow.
like all my family
I didn't expect
members.
Such a unanimous agreement.
Every family member I have loves watching it, so I have to watch it. And then I'll be sitting at like some family gathering, and they'll like mention the character names. I go, "Whoa, I don't know any of this shit. Like I just know the Dragon Lady and." Like, it is so boring.
So boring.
And then people are like, but that's what's so good about it. And go, you don't watch art movies? What the fuck? That's bullshit. Bullshit.
Actually, on the subject of TV shows, Adam, my favorite review that I always go back to of yours is the Walking Dead one. And I'm hoping
thank you.
I'm
Walking Dead's also awful.
Yeah, I don't get that show either. What's up with
everybody? Sorry.
I know you don't do. I know your name is YMS, but I'm hoping you'll do like a TV show thing again because those are really good to binge while drawing.
Thank you. Everybody that I know that was an avid watcher of The Walking Dead has given up at some point.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like I don't know anybody that still watches it. Everybody I talk to is like, yeah, I gave up. Like at a different point in time, but like I literally don't know a single person that watches it anymore. So who knows?
I can't actually think of a show that everyone likes and I hate. I'm just like, if I don't like it, I'm just like, whatever.
Big Bang Theory.
Oh yeah,
that's unanimously hated. Yeah,
are you guys excited? My favorite videos on the internet are Big Bang Theory without the laugh track, and it's
that's a funny video.
It's like a nightmare to watch.
I found that once myself. No. Like I edited out the laugh track from the first episode, and I was shocked to find that I think I edited out like 4 minutes.
Whoa.
Of the episode.
Yeah. No, but it's an interesting thing too, because you watch one of your favorite shows without a laugh track. How often will you actually be laughing? Like laugh track. I mean, everybody says, "Oh, laugh tracks," are dumb and stupid. But when you're watching a show, I think they honestly do, in a way, kind of condition you to laugh.
It is social conditioning. That's the entire point. Like
exactly,
it's the characters laughing don't exist in the universe of the show. It's literally just to have this social conditioning of laughter to force someone into experiencing an emotion that they might otherwise not be. It's the same thing with like music in a film or a TV show.
Yeah.
Forcing an emotion in ways that aren't warranted by the events taking place in the show.
Yeah, that's actually why when they screen a comedy for critics, they screen it with an audience. So that if the audience laughs, the critic will theoretically
get actors in there to laugh.
I wonder if they do.
That'd be slimy.
I was liked in when they had live studio audiences on Married with Children, and they'd always when Kelly would walk on, they'd hoot and holler,
Mhm.
and they'd make different like laughs and stuff
Yeah.
when Al would do something. I was like studio audiences, like when you can hear the one guy laugh and you're like, oh man, Steve had a good day today. Like,
I always
pull out one laugh.
I always feel really weirded out being in a theater where like everyone laughs at a joke and all I'm thinking is like, that's not funny. I can't even laugh and I'm just more upset that everyone else is. I'm just
Yeah,
like, wow.
well, I brought this up in the Some Call Me Johnny episode, but where I was talking about seeing the Secret Life of Pets trailer, watching some other movie, I forget what it was, and all the kids were laughing when the rabbit was shitting itself, and I just kind of died inside because I'm like, damn it, you guys.
They're children, Nolan. Those are children.
I know, but I'm hoping we move past this.
These are kids, Nolan.
When I saw the Minions movie, I was like, the kids were like on the floor laughing, and I was like, this isn't. I thought there was something wrong with me. I was like depressed for weeks.
Yeah, it's the social conditioning thing. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it has reverse effects, or I just feel like I'm not worth it as a person. I don't deserve to be in this society if I can't accept the Minions.
You're just thinking like, how can these 5-year-olds laugh at this thing? I'm 28 years old. I've seen this so many times.
I mean, the same thing happened when I saw Tree of Life. The kids were laughing, and I was just sitting there like, I don't think this is funny. I don't think this is funny at all. Kids.
Why were kids laughing in the Tree of Life? What?
I don't know. It was weird. These
I remember watching a Serbian film, and all the scenes, all the kids were like, "Oh, this is so funny," and I'm like, "This is horrendous. What are you guys talking about?"
Why were you watching a Serbian film with kids?
Yeah.
Well, no, he wasn't watching it with kids. Kids were there, and he went to the screen. That's a whole.
Yeah. Jim can definitely. They have baby screenings for like parents with little children, and that's the Serbian film.
They do.
I still can't believe I was watching like a fucking snuff film in a basement full of little kids, and all the kids were having a great time. I don't know what was going on.
Wait, what are you talking about?
What are you?
What's going on? Next question. I'm scared.
All right.
I was just making a joke, and everybody's just kind of like stretching it to like.
Wait, my thing was real.
Oh shit! Which is the real story? You in the comments must figure.
Mulder, Scully, help us.
We'll answer next time.
All right. Hardcore Destiny Player 91 says, question, Pan, I heard about this quote secret plan unquote that Cartoon Network has where the network just has a ton of the same TV shows on TV like Teen Titans Go because the network wants the viewers to go to the app and watch what they want and get the ad revenue from the app. Do you think this might be what they're doing, or is this a stupid speculation? Because, yeah, it's stupid.
What's wrong with this person? Stop. Teen Titans Go sucks, but stop coming up with conspiracy theories. They didn't do 9/11.
How would YouTube survive, Jim, if everyone doesn't talk about their weird theories about how everything?
Look. There's different theories that make sense. Like a magic bullet killed JFK because JFK clearly would have done 9/11. That makes sense. But this is fucking bullshit. There's no Cartoon Network's not going to sabotage for their fucking stupid app. This. Teen Titans Go sucks, but move on with your life. Oh my god! Like
Game theory. Did the Teen Titans orchestrate 9/11?
I think it's possible.
Let me take 3 videos to explain this.
I want the next X-Files episode of the reboot to be where Mulder and Scully have to figure out why Teen Titans Go is re-airing all these times, and Mulder thinks it's because of aliens. Mulder says that, and Scully's like, Mulder, kids just like Teen Titans Go, and then at the end it's revealed that it's like an alien conditioning program.
Oh no, these kids are lizard men the whole time. But yeah.
Well, okay, here's a conversation. Because obviously Teen Titans Go gets aired a lot because it's a episodic comedy where you don't have to watch anything to get the current episode.
Yeah.
So with storytelling, I've never really had an issue. We've never had issues with it back in the day when, like, Fox Kids was a thing, early 90s, late 90s, when we had storytelling stuff. They always were pretty good at catching people up so that you, like, they wrote in a way where there was exposition and you were being caught up as you're watching it, like, without really, like, making it really, really obvious.
Or they also had those things where it was like last time on X-Men, which they don't have on like Steven Universe.
No.
Where where one of the characters says last time on Steven Universe.
Okay, but to be fair, if Steven Universe did that, it'd take up half the episode.
It's true.
Yeah.
But my point is that like TV shows now are being written in a way to where you can binge watch them, because that is just how people prefer watching their story-based stuff. And I think that like binge watching could potentially be what ruining, airing storytelling stuff on TV as far as reruns. Because like I watched a random episode of season 3's Star versus the Forces of Evil, and there literally was no like actual catching up on like what happened. You just had to have previous knowledge. And I feel like that's a little bit bad of writing wise, because you can throw in a throwaway line here and there to like kind of like, oh, okay, this person's like this because of this. But it wouldn't work in the grand scheme of thing if you watched it as one big thing, because then you're just getting information retold because you're supposed to watch an hour-long thing.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that maybe networks should start adapting and having like multiple cuts of an episode. I mean, that'd be a little bit more work, but just like have a cut for streaming services where they take out previously on, or they take out like expository shit.
Yeah.
Oh, they already do that now. Like if you watch a Netflix original series, if you are like coming back to it, it'll play a recap thing, and you could skip it if you want. But they have it to where it's coded to where it has a section that's recap. Oh. They can cut out intros and do like seamless play all the way through.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
This reminds me, like I was watching Gem and the Holograms a few years ago, and I remember like the second episode, the last time on Gem and the Holograms, the last time. The recap lasted like 3 minutes.
Oh yeah,
going through the entire episode, every little detail.
I remember that, because then it would be like, I've marathon Gem and the Holograms, and it gets like, you'd be like, oh, the last time's on, I better go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Funny you say that, Jim, because actually, as a kid, one of my favorite things to do when I was in the bathroom using the toilet, I would narrate my own last times for like.
Wait. So it'd be like last time when I pooped.
No. Like you have your own stories in your head or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
So it'd be like, last time this happened. Next time.
Just a heads up. I gotta start setting up my stream in like 10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we'll do one more question then and call it a day.
Yeah, so someone in the chat had one final question.
Steven RMX says, question, what's an animated film as a kid you thought was garbage?
Like even your low standard childhood, you thought it was crap.
Oh, actually, I think I may have told this story before, but when someone brought in Aladdin, the direct-to-video sequel, which one was that? Prince of Thieves Return of Jafar.
Yeah.
I may have said this before, so I apologize. But if I have, she brought it in, we were all excited, like the whole class, and they were going to like interrupt school to watch Return of Jafar because it's America and we don't care about learning. And so they put it in, and we watch, and we're all excited. And at the end, we all got mad at the girl who brought it in, which is like
shame.
Which is like not fair. She didn't sit there and make. But even if she did make it, we were total dicks to her for like a week. We're like, at least we didn't bring in fucking Return of Jafar.
And she starts.
Wow.
I just wanted to be loved and like whatever. Go hang out in the dirt kid.
I think I was young enough when that came out that I was just oblivious to it being a bad movie. It was something that like
singing.
I don't remember. Is that the one where like things are flooding at some point?
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
That's all I remember.
It's
like that's the second movie. That's the third movie. That's the King one where they like have the
Williams comes back.
The gold hand
thing.
There's like a good rule of thumb that I've learned recently is if there's a movie that I watched as a kid and I know I've seen it multiple times, but I can only remember like one tiny part of it, it's probably because it's boring as shit.
Yeah.
It's probably because it's really bad and nothing happens. I actually I watched The Pebble and the Penguin very recently as just a kind of, hey, I want to remember what this movie's like because I know I watched it as a kid, but it also fell under the category of I only remember the opening scene. And I know I've seen it multiple times. And so I watched it again, and oh boy, is that a bad movie. The character designs. Why do the penguins have teeth? They all have human teeth. It's so scary.
Oh.
There's so many strange things about that film that just like, how did this get past people? The animation kind of sucks. There's like literally motionless characters in the background in the end.
Yeah.
It's like this is a 90s movie too. It's like Don Bluth, you know?
But, yeah, Don Bluth. I'm surprised Don Bluth something like that.
It's crazy.
In the 90s, he sort of just kind of fell off his fucking, just went nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. DeathNote.
And we brought it full circle, everybody.
Pull the DeathNote.
Yeah, when I started watching Death Note, I was younger and I liked it more, but as it went on, I hated it.
Yeah, but I can't remember a single movie as a child that even as a kid I hated, because I basically was like, okay, whatever. I don't think I was ever mad.
I was more like, I guess, okay with things as a kid and less critical.
Yeah.
But there are definitely things that even as a kid I was like, okay, well, this is dumb or this is bad or boring sort of thing. I was just more willing to put myself through the experience, I guess.
Although I hated any Ed, Ed and Eddie episode, like the one. Well, I loved Ed and Eddie, but I hated the ones where people were just dicks. Like the time Rolf just like fucking killed Eddie in that duel. Yeah.
You know what show I hated even as a kid? Monster by Mistake. Which I don't know. Did you guys get that show or no?
Nope, but I know what you're talking about.
It was just a Canadian thing. It was so bad. Like I was just infuriated by it as a kid. It was like the most annoying thing to watch, and I was mad whenever it came on. It was like none of it's funny, none of it's entertaining. It was just a painful show to watch. And even as a kid, I was just like, wow, this sucks.
Oh.
Monster by Mistake. Look up the theme song on YouTube. It's garbage.
More like cartoon by mistake.
Oh yeah, someone sent me a DVD, and the DVD included bubble gum for some reason inside the
Hey, Pan, do me a favor. I just found this image of Willem Dafoe dressed as Ryuk hugging
I'm
White.
looking at that. It's so
funny. Please make that the podcast image.
I thought that was a Renaissance painting.
Yeah, it does look like a Renaissance painting.
I love like mistake. But I love photos that look like Renaissance paintings by mistake, especially if they're really stupid and funny.
God, he looks like a YouTuber, like a Shane Dawson or something. God.
Oh wow, that's an old reference.
Oh yeah, but so
I used to watch Shane Dawson all the time.
But Adam has to go. So is this the end of the podcast?
Well, yeah, you literally just said he has to go, so it has to.
Yeah, so this is the end of the podcast. I'm Pan Pizza. Who are you people?
I was Jim.
I'm Nolan.
I was late.
Yeah.
Oh,
good job.
I was Cool Cat.
Wait, you were?
Likes to rock
I was
and
the
roll.
whole time. That was the twist.
Oh,
we got it.
Dude, I didn't know we had an M. Night Shyamalan writer on the podcast. That's crazy.
There he is.
Cray,
there he
cray.
always was.
There he forever shall will be. That was the worst sentence structure I've ever given.
I thought that was intentional, but I'm guessing it wasn't.
Sometimes I just talk before I think about what I'm gonna say. It works out.
I do that all the time, and it never works out.
Yeah.
But you know,
Life's fucked. Everything's ruined. Yeah, but this is the end. Goodbye, everyone.
Teen Titans did 9/11.
It's confirmed. Make a theory about that, you assholes. Bye.
Bye. Play us out,
Do it,
Emily.
Mad Pat. Bye, everybody. Love you guys. Bye.
Love you too.